next President of the United States, Mr. Donald J. Trump.
Thank you very much, folks. So I wanted to be in Kansas. I wanted to be here so badly, so I was headed to another direction. I told the pilot, we're going to Kansas, just get here. Now, we don't have much time this morning because in a few minutes we got to go over and caucus. Who's got the right to caucus? Who's got the right to vote? Raise your hand. Good. Well, I'm going over with you, okay? We're all going together. This is a movement, folks. It's never been anything like this. They're all saying it. This isn't coming from Donald Trump. This is coming from Time Magazine and everything else. We're on the cover numerous times over the last couple of months. I never thought. It took me like 30 years to be on the cover of Time twice. Now I've done it 4 times in the last 3 months. So something's happening, right? Something's happening. This is better than real estate. This is more fun. But look, we've got to do the right thing. CNN just came out with a poll 2 days ago, 49% for Trump. Next was Cruz and Rubio, Lion Ted and Little Marco. This is not presidential material, folks, believe me. So look, we've got to make America great again. We've got to make America great again. It's very simple. Look, he's got a sign. Show him your hands, Mr. Trump. My hands. Look at these hands. These hands hit a golf ball 285 yards. Look at these hands. These politicians, such liars. I guess when I made the statement about him being a lightweight, he said, let's see. What's wrong with Trump? What's wrong? Let me think about something. Maybe he's got small hands. He's got small hands. They lie. So anyway, look, all kidding aside, our country's in trouble. We owe $19 trillion. Nobody even knows what that means, $19 trillion. That's so much. You can take top people. They don't know what it means. And it's just beyond. They just signed the worst budget deal I've ever seen. The worst. And we're going to change things so badly, so quickly. It's going to go so fast. And you're going to be so proud. You're going to be so proud of your country again. You're going to be proud of your president. And it's not me. I'm like the messenger. We're all together. I'm telling you, so many articles. What we've done is very unique because the Republicans were, decades. They made a tremendous mistake when you chose Mitt Romney 4 years ago. He was a disaster as a candidate. No energy, no life, no nothing. He was a stiff, okay, just a stiff guy. He was a loser. And then he comes out. If he would have devoted the same energy 4 years ago to running for president, him and his third-rate campaign manager, I see him on television all the time. Where was he 4 years ago when Obama was doing Jay Leno, when Obama was doing David Letterman, and Romney was looking for his own change to get a 9-car garage built, okay? Where was this guy? So, look, it's the establishment. The establishment is against us. The press back there is against us, although some of it's coming around, I must tell you. I read a couple of articles this morning. Folks. They're coming around. By the way, polls show that I beat Hillary Clinton. Many polls show that I beat Hillary Clinton. These guys, they like to say, well, Donald Trump will never beat Hillary Clinton. I watch him on television. I'm watching Fox. I'm watching CNN. I'm watching MS. And I'm watching television. And they say, well, Donald Trump will never, ever beat Hillary. The polls are showing that I beat her. I haven't even started on her yet. I wasn't supposed to beat Jeb Bush. He was establishment. He was the one that was getting it. I see all of his supporters on television saying, Donald Trump will not win. Well, what happened to their candidate, okay? It's unbelievable. No, it's so foolish. The Republicans are eating their own. They got to be very careful. We have to bring things together. Now I hear, if we win. Look at these crowds. By the way, there are 1,000. Look at this thing. It's packed, this convention hall. Now, I I wish the cameras would spin around and show those upper decks where you can't even get on. But on top of that, there are thousands of people outside. I mean, they won't show it. Unless, is there a protester in the room, please? The only way they turn the cameras is if there's a protester, because that's like supposed to be a bad thing. I view protesters as a positive thing because then the cameras swing around. That's the only reason. You can stand there and force them. They won't touch those cameras. I didn't think, you know what? For 3 rallies, I had no protesters. And nobody knew what was happening with these rallies. And I'd go home and my wife would say, were there many people there? I'd say, yeah, about 20,000. She said, really? They never showed that. They only show your face. Now, I like my face, but I'd rather show the crowd. I'd much rather show the crowd. So we're going to win, and we're going to win easily. But now I hear the establishment, well, you probably heard this, the establishment is saying very strongly, and I can't imagine, that if Trump wins now, if I win Florida, and I have a big lead in Florida over a guy that never shows up to vote, Rubio, the guy never shows up to vote. He's got the worst voting record almost in the history of the United States Senate. Who the hell wants to vote for a guy like that? In addition, I watched him melt down under the stare of Chris Christie, who just endorsed me, by the way, and Senator Sessions, and Sarah Palin, and Jerry Falwell Jr., who's been so great. You know, Jerry Falwell, we're leading with the evangelicals all over the country. Leading, big. Because they don't want to vote for a liar. You have Lion Ted Cruz. I call him, I nicknamed him Lion. I say Lion. How would you spell that? L-Y-E-N. Lion. With a big apostrophe. But, you know, you have Lion Ted Cruz, and he comes in, he holds up the Bible, and then he tells you exactly what I didn't say. All these guys, I say something, I make it very clear, then they get on television, Donald Trump just said, and it's like totally different. I want to tell you something. I used to think that real estate people were tough, especially in Manhattan. They're babies compared to these politicians. These politicians are liars. I meet, you know, it's funny, I meet much tougher people over the years. I've dealt, you know, the people I deal with are much tougher than the politicians, but nobody lies like a politician, nobody. So anyway, what we've got to do is we've got to get out today. We've got to caucus. I'm going to go with you. We're going to caucus. And after making this huge U-turn to Kansas, if I lose, I'm going to be so angry at you. Oh. And my friend, did you ever hear of Phil Ruffin? Phil Ruffin. They're great everything. So smart, a real Kansas guy. And he's so proud of Kansas, he loves it. I called him up a few days ago. I said, Phil, good luck. You're in charge of Kansas. Calls me up the next day, says, Donald, you're doing Kansas. He's one of my best friends. He's the sweetest guy. He made a lot of money just by brain power. Just a really smart guy. Great poker. I said, I'll be there, okay? So here I am. So I want to thank, I have to do this. I want to thank Phil Ruffin. I want to thank all of my, Mr. and Mrs. Ruffin, too, by the way. She's fantastic. I want to thank all of my friends from Kansas. They have been working so hard to get us this victory. And, you know, caucusing is tough. Caucusing is, I never liked the whole concept of caucusing. Don't worry, even if there's a protester, I'm not stopping for you. We don't have enough time. Some of these protesters are very soft. We had one last night in Louisiana. The voice was so sad. It took a whole 45 minutes before we realized there was a protest. Don't worry, let him keep protesting. He's got a very soft voice. Don't worry about it. Nobody, doesn't bother us. But look, we've got, just so you understand, we're going to strengthen our borders. We're going to build a wall. Mexico's going to pay for the wall. We're going to re-energize and rebuild our military with the right equipment, not equipment that's bought because companies have political connections and we're putting stuff in there that they don't want. We're going to use the stuff that the generals and that the soldiers and that everybody wants. You know, we buy military equipment based on political connections. If somebody has a plane and they're connected, and then somebody else has a plane and they're not, but the one that's not connected, the plane's cheaper, faster, better, maneuvers better. We buy the lousy plane because of connections. Not going to happen anymore, folks. Not going to happen. You know, same thing with the drug industry. We don't bid out drugs. We're the largest purchaser of drugs in the world. Drugs to make you better. We're the largest purchaser of drugs in the world. and we don't bid it out because the drug companies, they have such a monopoly over these senators that we deal with that they don't bid it out. Whoever heard? We'll save so much money. We'll save hundreds of millions of dollars, billions of dollars by bidding. We will start bidding procedures, folks. We will save so much on waste, fraud, and abuse. I'm so good at contracts. You know, I'm building a hotel on Pennsylvania Avenue at the site of the old post office that I got, believe it or not, many people, over 100 people bid. And when I say people, I mean the biggest companies in the world. The hottest thing that the GSA has ever had, and I think the hottest bid. You know, GSA is like the landlord for the United States government services. Very professional people. The old post office on Pennsylvania Avenue, right between the White House, right between the Capitol building and the White House. And it's under construction now. I got it. By the way, people were shocked that I got it, but I got it. They were shocked because in the Obama, that tells you how good. And I got it for two reasons. I had the most incredible and have the most incredible financial statement. It's incredible because they want to make sure it gets built. They don't want to have it stuck. And I came up with a concept that's great. But here's the story. It's under budget, and it's 2 years ahead of schedule. 2 years. Now think of that. 2 years ahead of schedule. So we're going to open in September of this year. It was supposed to be September of like 2 years from now. Because I'm really good at this stuff. We're going to rebuild the infrastructure of our country. We're going to rebuild the infrastructure. And we're going to do it for a fraction of the cost. And it's going to be better than what they were projecting. And we're going to save, and we're going to reinvigorate our military. We're going to knock the hell out of ISIS. We got to get rid of them. They cut off heads. We got to get rid of them. We're going to knock the hell. They're not going to know what happened. We're going to knock the hell out. We're going to take care of our great veterans. Our veterans have been absolutely treated unfairly. We're getting rid of Common Core. We're bringing education locally. We're one of the worst in the world in education, and we spend the most per pupil. So we're getting rid of Common Core. We're going to do it locally with love, with love, with love. And I've seen that. We're getting rid of Obamacare. It's a total disaster, and it's being replaced. And we'll have great health care at a fraction of the cost. You'll have your all the lies that we're told to get Obamacare passed. And friends of mine are showing your costs are going up 35, 45, 55%. In 17, it dies anyway, unless the Republicans extend it. These Republicans, they keep extending. They keep giving the money to extend Obamacare, to allow people to come into the country, to allow the Syrians to come in, and we have no idea who they are. So here's what we're going to do. All right, quiet. Don't worry about it. Sit down. Sit down. Boy, did he get out fast. He's gone. You know, it's amazing. He stood up. He started shouting. I said, sit down, and he sat down. Oh, it's okay. You can keep going. No, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Protester. I never saw a protester drop so fast. I said, sit down. He sat down. That was the end of the protester. Okay, thank you. I like that protester. That's somebody we can reason with, all right? So look, we are going to do things that are so great. You are going to be so proud of what you do today. I'm going to see you in a few minutes over at caucus. But you are going to, and I do wish you could just walk in, this whole caucus system. I don't want to knock it because we're living with it right now. But don't you like it where you have a vote, you walk in, you press Trump, 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 and you leave? Instead of walk in, oh, let's discuss it, let's talk for a couple of hours. What a ridiculous system. But you know what? We got to live with it, right? We have to live with it. So get in there, do a job. Hello. All right, get them out. Thank you. Thank you. That's all right. He's another quiet one. I know how tough the people of Kansas. Yeah, you are tough people. How come your protesters are so weak? What's going on? What's going on? You know why? You know why they're weak? Because they know you're tough. That's why they're weak. Okay? So we're going to do things you're going to be very proud. You're going to say in a couple of years from now, that was one of the greatest mornings and one of the most important things I've ever done. Because you're going to see changes made. We're no longer going to be the stupid country. We're no longer going to be the country that gives Iran, a terror nation, $150 billion and doesn't get anything. You're going to get your prisoners back 4 years early. You're not going to have deals. We're not going to pay them $100